What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be doing a tier list ranking of every single live action lightsaber duel in Star Wars. So let's get straight into it. First up, Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul from the Phantom Menace. Nothing much here, it's just a quick little fight. It's alright. I'm gonna put it in D. It's because there's nothing much there. It's just a quick little fight. It's alright though. Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn. Easy S tier. No thought about it at all. One of the absolute best scenes in all of Star Wars, let alone lightsaber duels. This was fantastic. I mean, Duel of the Fates, man. The best theme in all of Star Wars. Absolutely amazing. Sets the tone for this fight. I just love the intensity, the quiet, how nobody's speaking, how intense it is, how much they're into it. And then obviously you got the blow where Darth Maul kills Qui-Gon. Obi-Wan comes in, hanging over the edge, does the flip, cuts Maul in half. And just such a great moment in all of Star Wars, let alone lightsaber duel. So easy S tier, no thought about it. Next up, Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Count Dooku from Attack of the Clones. See, I'm really not a big fan of this one, to be honest. I mean, I'll put it in C tier. It's alright. Choreography in this scene it's not as great as the other lightsaber duels in this trilogy, in the prequels. Part of that is because Christopher Lee wanted to do the fight on his own, didn't want a stunt double. So they were kind of limited because obviously, he wasn't able to do all of those crazy flips and tricks. It's okay. But next up, Yoda versus Dooku. I actually like this one a lot. I'm going to put it above the last one, put it in B tier. This one's cool, man. Seeing Yoda flip around, do his thing, just go ham on Dooku. A lot of people don't like it. They think it's silly and goofy. But I love it. I think it's awesome. And just to see Yoda kick some ass, it's amazing. Next up, we're into Revenge of the Sith. We got the opening scene with Obi-Wan and Anakin versus Dooku. This one, I'm going to put it in B tier as well. It's actually a really good fight. It's just not on par with the rest of the lightsaber duels in this movie, in my opinion. But it's still a great lightsaber duel. You got Anakin beheading Dooku at the end, and Palpatine in the back just pulling the strings as always. And it's a good fight. It's a good fight. Great way to start off the movie too. Next up, Obi-Wan versus General Grievous. I'm gonna put this one at B too. I mean, it's a cool fight. It's a good fight. It's nowhere near top tier by any means, but it's a good fight. My biggest problem with this fight was just General Grievous got disarmed so quick and easy. I mean, all four of those lightsabers gone just like that. It's a cool little chase sequence. Then you got Obi-Wan firing that blast to the chest, and the guns and the blasters, they're just so uncivilized, But next up, we got Mace Windu and friends versus Palpatine. This is gonna go C tier. Love Mace Windu, love Palpatine. This fight was pretty weak. Definitely the weakest in Revenge of the Sith. But it's still a fun fight, though. Obviously the three other Jedi get gut down pretty easily. And then Mace Windu actually won the fight. He actually won the fight. If it wasn't for Anakin coming in and stopping him, then Mace Windu would have killed Palpatine, and it would have all been over. All been over right there, but my boy Anakin had to do it. He had to do it. Next up, Yoda versus Palpatine. This one's really cool, man. I'm putting this one in A tier. I love the scenery in the Senate building with all the pods, and it's awesome seeing the strongest Jedi and the strongest Sith just duke it out, going ham, using, their Force abilities. It was a fun fight. Very fun. A tier. Next up, in what is obviously the greatest lightsaber duel of all time, put it in A tier. Obi-Wan versus Anakin from Revenge of the Sith. Man, this is peak Star Wars right here. It does not get better than this. It does not get better than this. I mean, the raw emotion in this whole entire sequence is unreal. The choreography is unmatched. Just everything, the scenery, the visuals is just so good, so amazing, so heartfelt. And so much heart went into this, and it's amazing. does not get better than this. Easy S tier. Next up, we're going to jump into the Kenobi series with Vader versus Obi-Wan. This was their first fight from episode 3 of the show. I'm going to put it at F tier. Honestly, I did not like this fight. Thought the choreography was horrible. Yeah, I get Obi-Wan hasn't used his lightsaber in years and ages, but it's just a little Vader toying with Obi-Wan, and it's not much to it, but the choreography doesn't help either. It's just, I thought this fight was awful. Next up, Obi-Wan versus Anakin, the flashback sequence from the Kenobi show. This one was actually, it's a brief, quick fight, and it comes in bits and pieces. I'm going to put it as C tier, though. I mean, it felt like we were watching Attack of the Clones, Anakin versus Obi-Wan. The choreography was good, and it was nice. It was a nice little fight. Just wish it would have lasted a little longer, and just wish it was all in one piece rather than cut into bits and pieces spread out through the episode. But it's a good fight. Good fight. Next up, Vader versus Reva. This is going D tier. It's not much of a fight, but I just absolutely love seeing Vader ragdoll Reva. So for that reason alone, I could put it in D, just because pure enjoyment out of seeing that. It was great, but the fighting itself, not like I said, not much to it. And then we got the fight between Obi-Wan and Vader from the Kenobi finale. I actually really, really love this fight. I'm going to put it in B, but I loved this fight. Like, I felt the emotion. The choreography was all right. It was better than the other fights from this show. It was okay. It wasn't the best, but really it's the emotion between Vader and Kenobi in this fight that carries it for me. And seeing that end sequence with Vader's face cut in half, seeing Anakin through the mask, and that moment between him and Obi-Wan, that really carries this fight for me. So I'm going to put it in B tier. I think that's fair. Next up, Kenobi versus Vader from A New Hope. Man, this fight has so much meaning to it. It's the one that started it all. We would not have lightsaber duels without this one. And it holds a special place in every Star Wars fan's heart for being the original, but I have to put it in F tier. Yeah, obviously, they didn't have much to work with at the time. But just watching this fight, especially after all the other fights, if you're watching the movies and shows in timeline order, it's pretty atrocious. But man, I still love this sequence. I still love the scene. It's just the fighting itself is definitely the weakest in the franchise, but there's good reasons for that. Next up, The Empire Strikes Back, Luke versus Vader. I'm gonna put this. This is tough. This is really tough, man, because I think the fighting itself isn't much of a fight. Obviously, it's Vader just toying with Luke, who hasn't, reached his potential yet. He's just starting. And so there's really not much of a fight. It's just Vader really just toying with him. But when he drops the bomb of revealing that he is Luke's father, makes this whole scene just top tier. I think the scenery looks really cool, though. And I'm gonna put it at A tier just because of the whole sequence itself. If we're basing it just on the fighting, but the whole sequence, it's amazing, man. It's a top tier Star Wars scene. Next up, Luke vs. Vader, Return of the Jedi. I actually like this one more than the Empire Strikes Back fight. I think I'm gonna put this in S tier, actually. The fighting's actually definitely the best out of the original trilogy, but the emotion in this sequence, in this scene, man, it's most emotional in the entire trilogy. It's unbelievable. I mean, this is my favorite movie out of the original trilogy, so I've always watched this one the most. I have most nostalgia for it. I don't know, I just have such an emotional connection to this movie, and seeing Vader get redeemed, kill Palpatine, or kill him, quote unquote, whatever. Stupid fucking sequel. And then saving Luke, and then turning back to the light side right before he dies, sees his son's face for the first time with his own eyes. Just so amazing, so heartfelt, absolutely amazing. Gotta put it in S tier. Next up, we are going to jump into The Mandalorian. This is from Season 2, Ahsoka versus Morgan Elsbeth. Is it... it's really not much. I'm gonna put it in F tier. I like the scene, I like the sequence, I love the episode, but the fight itself is just pretty lackluster. Next up, this is from the Season 2 finale, Moff Gideon with the Darksaber against Din Djarin. I actually like this one a lot. I was actually really hyped up watching this fight. It's not great, but it's an entertaining fight. It's a good fight. I'm going to put it in C tier. I feel like that's pretty fair. And then next up, we got from the Season 3 finale, Bo-Katan with the Darksaber versus Moff Gideon. I actually personally like this one more than Din Djarin versus Gideon. I'm going to keep it in C tier with it, though. I feel like that's just fair. Keep them two together. Next up, we're going to dive into the Ahsoka series, starting off with Sabine versus Shin Hati from Episode 1. I personally think this was their best fight. They fought a few times in this show, and I thought this was their best fight out of all the times they met. I'll put it as C tier, though. I feel like that's a good spot for it. It's all right. It's all right. It's not a bad fight. The way it ends with Sabine getting stabbed, I did not like, obviously, but the fight itself really wasn't bad. It had some cool acrobatics in there with Sabine doing that little back bend. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. It was all right. Next up, Ahsoka versus Marok from Episode 2 of Ahsoka. This one, I'm going to have to put this one in F tier. It's another one of those that's just like a quick little thing. Not much to it, really. It's really Marok just kind of being a little bitch. But yeah. And then now we got Sabine and Ahsoka versus Shin Hati and Marok from Episode 4. This is another one that's just... I'll put this in C tier too. It was cool. It was cool. I think there were some cool moments. The strike on Marok by Ahsoka was really cool. I like the scene with Sabine trying to use the Force. Obviously doesn't work. Then shoots her rockets at Shin. I thought that was cool. There's some cool little bits and pieces in that fight. But it's just middle of the road for me, C. Next up, Baylan versus Ahsoka. This is their first meeting. I like this fight a lot. I like this fight a lot. But I'm going to put it at B tier. B tier. That was a really good fight. That was sick, dude. Seeing Baylan's so powerful. He's so strong. His lightsaber strikes are just pure brute force. It was a great fight. I really love this one. Next up, we got Anakin versus Ahsoka from Episode 5. And... this is tough, dude, because I love this whole sequence in general. It's probably a top 5 Star Wars scene for me of all time. So that makes me want to put it in S tier, but judging it off the fight itself, it's still a great fight. I mean, you got Anakin in there doing his lightsaber twirl. You know, you got Anakin using the choreography from the prequels, which elevates it. I'm going to put it S tier. You know what? Screw it. This is my list. I'm going to throw in an S tier. Dude, I love this whole sequence, man. Top tier. Best sequence in the entire show, no doubt. Probably, like I said, a top 5 scene for me in all of Star Wars, man. This was sick, dude. Anakin's my favorite character ever. So seeing him come back, seeing the Clone Wars in live action, just everything to this, it's unreal. So good. Next up, we got Sabine and Ezra versus Shin Hati from Episode 7. This was another one I'm going to put in F tier. It's just not much to it. Just a quick little clash, whatever. But, yeah. Next up, Baylan versus Ahsoka Round 2. It's from Episode 7. I actually like this one too. I don't think I'd liked it as much as the first one. It's a quicker fight as well. But I'm going to put it in C tier. I thought it was pretty cool. Seeing Ahsoka in the all-white is just so badass, man. And I like the fight. It's all right. Now, the final fight from the Ahsoka series, we got Ahsoka versus Morgan Elsbeth. And I actually think this was the best lightsaber duel in the entire season. I thought the choreography was the best in this fight out of all the other ones. I am gonna put this one in B tier. I feel like that's fair, though. Put it on par with Ahsoka vs. Baylan from Episode 4. I don't think I could put this quite in A tier, definitely not. But I do like this fight better than Ahsoka versus Balin. But yeah, it was great. A great fight to end the finale. I love the final blow of Ahsoka stealing the sword of Mother Talzin and just double slicing her there. That was sick. And I like I said, it was cool. The scenery looked sick. It was cool. It was a good fight. Man, oh man. Now we are into the sequels. Man, I always hate doing these. Finn versus that stormtrooper. Yeah, easy F tier. I don't even need to think about that. I don't know why I tried to think about that. Next up from The Force Awakens, we got Rey and Finn versus Kylo Ren. Nah, the scenery in here is actually really cool. I feel like in the snow, in the woods, at nighttime, it looked pretty sick. The fighting itself was pretty ass. I'm gonna put it in D tier. Next up, Rey and Kylo Ren versus the Praetorian Guards. This was actually a really cool scene. Definitely the best scene out of The Last Jedi. Probably one of the best, if not the best scene in all the sequel trilogies. It's not saying a whole lot, but I'm gonna put this one in C tier. I thought this was a really cool scene. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Luke versus Kylo Ren from The Last Jedi, F tier. Absolutely disgrace. I don't know what the hell they were thinking. That's an absolute abomination. Erase that. Next up, Rey versus Kylo from The Rise of Skywalker. This was their first fight when they kind of went back and forth between the two sceneries, whatever. I don't know. Fuck these movies, man. I did think it'll nah. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, dude. On F tier. Fuck this shit. Next up, Rey versus Dark Rey. This was in The Rise of Skywalker. Just a quick little sequence, and that's easy F tier. Not much to it at all. Now we got Rey versus Kylo. This was the fight on the water, on the ruins of the Death Star. Now the scenery in here looked really cool. It actually looked really cool. I thought the fight on the Death Star, a great place for this fight. But yet again, the fight itself just sucks. The choreography's not good. I do think it's better than the one from The Force Awakens, but I don't think I could put it any higher than D tier. Next up, actually, this is the best lightsaber duel in the entire sequel trilogy. It's Leia versus Luke, that flashback training sequence. It's one of those that are just really quick, a few seconds, but it's better than everything else we got from that trilogy. So I'll put it in D. I can't put it in C. It's just a quick little 2-second fight, so I can't put any higher than D. But I definitely put it higher than all the other fights on the sequel trilogy. Last but not least, Ben Solo versus the Knights of Ren. I actually thought the choreography in this fight was actually pretty decent. I thought it was actually pretty cool. Seeing Ben Solo fly around, kick some ass, it was actually pretty cool. I'll put this one in D tier as well. That's pretty fair. So that's going to do it, guys. That will round out this tier list ranking. I will be having plenty more videos coming out. Please let me know down in the comments what you think of my rankings. Where would you rank these fights? And your thoughts and opinions. And please, guys, can we just be respectful? Everybody has their own opinions. It's okay to differ from other people. If you don't agree with somebody and their opinions, that's perfectly okay. Just respect that they have their own opinion. And, I just want us to be, a good community, Everything in the comments, I just want it to be positive. So I really appreciate you guys for checking out this video. Stick with me, subscribe, like, drop a comment down below. Any like or comment means the world to me. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for checking out this video. Have a good one.